how can you empower youth in India towards sustainability was an interesting challenge to kind of look at some solutions towards. But I think everybody approaches it in their own manner. I think the conference here has an objective to kind of make at least the challenges more apparent across for the youth. In our work, we engage typically by employing youth in our company. We also have a lot of renewable energy projects in the country, and we engage with the local youth there to kind of make the transition a little less intrusive and more involved, and ensure that people engage with our assets in a manner that they believe that they are their own, they're set up for good and they are part of their communities and supporting the community and building and growing the community in a manner that aligns with their intentions as well. Just to give you some background first of what Blue Leaf Energy is, so we are spread across Asia. We have a headquarters in Singapore. Our largest operations are in India. We have about 90 people team in India currently. And we've got projects about a gigawatt peak, which is about a one gigawatt of operating assets or under construction assets that are currently in India. And we have an aim to kind of grow that to about 10 gigawatts in the next 5 years, which aligns very well with the objectives of the country. But we do it all responsibly. So I think, like the esteemed guest before me spoke, responsibility is, doing anything with responsibility is a behavior that individuals reflect or individuals perform. And that is also in the DNA of our company. We engage very, very intensively with the community to understand where our project is going to be set up, what does that community really need, and how can our project engage with that community in a manner that we can actually build some value for them there. Finally, sustainable development is at the heart of our operations, and right exactly from designing a project that can operate in the long term without damaging, to managing the waste from our projects in a manner that's sustainable, to procuring from suppliers that actually are aligned with our values, and then ensuring that at the end of our life of these projects, which are very long-term life projects, we are able to recycle and make sure that we are sustainable at that end as well. We should all work towards seeing the impact that our actions can have and how to minimize and ensure that whatever actions we do undertake, they don't leave the place that we are working in or interacting with in any way worse off than when we kind of started our engagement with it. I think humans have always found solutions that can ensure our continued survival, but also the continued survival of everything else on the planet. And that's really the only way that we will also survive. And so, along with economic growth, it has become a key criteria, just like for Macquarie, like I mentioned, they invest a lot in green assets. For every other investor and every other individual, organization, country that's trying to promote growth, they are very keenly looking at how to do it sustainably. And there are different ways that you can engage with that. You can engage with it at different levels, in different forums, in different manners. But in some way, you should find a way to actively engage and act in that space. Nature and environment are not at odds with economic growth. So birds are just as important as factories, and coins are just as important as trees. And I think as long as we can find a way of alignment, we will find ourselves moving in a more sustainable manner. So what happens in my industry, and part of it is energy transition, which is when you move from more energy intensive or resource intensive solutions like coal or thermal or gas power to sustainable initiatives like solar or wind, or other kinds of geothermal, tidal, those kinds of solutions for generation of energy. Everybody in the world today needs energy, and there's no denying that. It's just about moving it to a more sustainable source rather than exploitative source. And similarly, there's a concept of circular economy where every aspect of any business or factory can be turned to a more greener solution. And really, who will drive these changes, right? It has to be the people in this room, or the people sitting on the panel, or people in different kind of roles in whichever organization they're in. It doesn't have to be limited to the individuals. It has to grow beyond that to communities, which is already also evident. And of course, we incorporate into corporations, which also is happening at different stages. In India, the energy market, which is the market that I operate in, is very, very vibrant with green energy. So we have last year we installed about 30 gigawatt of solar and 5 gigawatts of wind. And that brings us to a cumulative capacity of about 250 gigawatts of renewable energy in our grid. Whereas our peak demand, or the most of the demand that is utilized in the country, about 300 gigawatt is the peak demand that we have in the country. So we're already at the threshold of our peak demand in some ways being, at least in terms of capacity, having been met with green energy. And what that means is about $12 billion of investments have gone into renewable energy in the last year, in the first half of last year. And that's rapidly increasing. So this is just to give you the scale of the impact or scale of operations of energy, green energy in India and across the rest of the globe. So where are there opportunities for youth, right? So there are opportunities for youth in investment finance, which is the kind of work that I do, and the banks that we operate, that I spoke about earlier, do. There's role for engineers, which I mentioned. People will have to design the solutions and make it work. And then there's role for policy and community managers who can effectively talk about this change and promote it in the different communities that they are in.